In Mexico, a scavenger digs through rubble in a desert area and finds an old spearhead wrapped in a Nazi flag. As soon as he unwraps the flag, he's possessed by an entity and starts moving against his will. As he crosses the road, a car hits him. The car crumbles, then a creepy sign appears on the man's wrist. He then gets up and continues walking. In an apartment in Los Angeles, a mother collapses to the floor, screaming, upon seeing her daughter crawling on the wall. The family immediately seeks help, but Father Hennessy doesn't have the skills to deal with this, so he calls John Constantine to do it. Next, we see John Constantine. In his world, heaven and hell are real and exist in a parallel dimension to the human world. John is a cynical occult expert and an exorcist, working with his apprentice, Chas, finding and banishing demons. He is also addicted to smoking. Father Hennessy tells John he's found one that John has been seeking. The possessed girl is tied up to her bed, and John opens a window, letting sunlight in. John produces a talisman that casts a shadow on the young girl, and the girl goes crazy. John presses the amulet onto the girl's forehead, and the girl begins convulsing and screaming as John mutters an incantation. Suddenly, a demon pops out from her neck, wanting to leave the girl's body, and John punches it. John then asks for a mirror. The family gets a large mirror and helps hold it above the girl. John smashes a window and asks Chas to move the parked car below. John has the mirror tied to a pulley above the window and advises everyone in the room to close their eyes. One of the men opens his eyes and starts screaming, while his hair turns gray. John uncovers the girl's eyes, and the demon escapes, getting trapped in the mirror. John orders Hennessy to pull the mirror, but it doesn't fit through the window. John takes over, trying to pull the mirror out, and sees the demon trying to escape. He puts all his weight in the rope, and the mirror flies out the window, falling onto the car, smashing to pieces. John steps out of the room and sees a sketch drawing of what looks like a spearhead, and recognizes it as the Spear of Destiny, the same spear the man earlier found in the desert. John tells Hennessy that this exorcism was not normal, and he predicts something big will happen. John leaves, and Chas drives him home. Next, police detective Angela Dodson confesses to a priest. She tells him that she's killed another criminal. She's concerned about the number of killings she's done. She always seems to know precisely where these bad men are, and know the exact moment when she should pull the trigger. She wonders if there's something wrong with her, and the priest tells him God has something planned for her. At home, Angela has a dream of waking up from a hospital bed. She hears the name Isabel whisper before she gets up. She then sneaks up the stairs to the hospital roof. She removes her medical tag, then jumps. She falls, smashing through a glass roof into a pool of water. She floats for a while before waking up back in her bed, sweating and panting. The following morning, John Constantine gets an X-ray of his lungs, and a doctor tells him he has an advanced form of terminal lung cancer and has a short time left to live. In the same hospital, Angela arrives at the scene of a suicide. She uncovers the corpse and finds it is Isabel, her twin sister, who had been admitted to the hospital as a mental patient. Her colleague tells her Isabel jumped from the roof, but Angela says she knows Isabel and she's not the type to kill herself. John's friend, Beeman, arrives at John's apartment to bring him some equipment. He gives John bullet shavings from an assassination attempt on the Pope, holy water from the River of Jordan, and a screech beetle that repels demons. Beeman asks what the new assignment is about, and John tells him about the exorcism he performed. John says he saw a demon soldier trying to exit from the young girl's body into the human realm. Beeman is surprised to hear this, knowing the demons can only possess humans, but can never enter the human physical realm because of a treaty between heaven and hell. Just to be sure, John asks Beeman to do some research into this. John and Chas then head to a church, and John again runs into Detective Angela. Angela speaks with a priest while John goes straight for Gabriel. John sees Gabriel's dark wings and refers to it as a half-breed. Gabriel knows why John has come and tells John angels still keep track of the most wayward souls. Angela asks the priest to give Isabel a Catholic funeral, but the priest says the bishop has decided against it. Since Isabel died of suicide and is considered a mortal sin, she cannot be allowed a Catholic burial. Angela pleads with the priest, but he tells her there's nothing he can do. John tells Gabriel about an influx of soul travel in the mortal realm and asks Gabriel if God can extend his life. John requests an extension to his life in exchange for his work deporting hell's forces. Gabriel responds that performing good deeds for selfish reasons will not secure his way into heaven. John reminds Gabriel of all the demons he has banished and sent back to hell. He considers his service a guarantee into the gates of heaven. Gabriel tells him that what John has done is not enough. Self-sacrifice and belief is the only thing that will get John into heaven. Elsewhere, Father Hennessy runs his hands through several newspapers, hearing the news articles in his head. His attention is drawn to the suicide of a person with a mental health condition, which is Isabel. Detective Angela Dodson is investigating the death of her twin sister Isabel. Angela refuses to believe her sister, a devout Catholic, would commit suicide and condemn herself to hell. Watching security footage, Angela hears Isabel say, "Constantine." She recognizes the name as the rude man in the church. Suddenly, all the phones in the building start ringing at the same time, but nobody answers when she picks up. Sometime later, John has a coughing fit in the middle of the street and falls to his knees. A crab appears on his hand, and when someone tries to approach him, John is suddenly attacked by a demon covered in insects. The demon warns John to leave the demons alone. John accidentally drops the box with his weapon, and the demon tries to choke him. The two struggle, and finally the demon is hit by a car, killing it. Afterward, John and Chaz go to Midnight's nightclub, a place where the supernatural hang out. A test at the door checks if visitors can see the drawing on a card, and John is allowed inside, but Chaz is turned down because he doesn't have powers. John goes to the back room, where he meets the owner, Papa Midnight. He's a powerful occultist who, unlike John, has decided to stay neutral in the fight of heaven versus hell. John tells him about the demon that attacked him, but Midnight doesn't believe him because the rules say pure demons can't wander Earth. They're then interrupted by the half-breed demon Balthazar, who keeps playing with a coin as he teases John. When John threatens him back, Midnight cuts in and reminds them his club doesn't accept hostility. John has another coughing fit, so he rushes out. Later at home, John is visited by Angela, who wants his help because she thinks Isabel was forced to commit suicide by someone else. However, John thinks she's just desperate for her sister to go to heaven and refuses to help her. He then witnesses demons pursuing Angela, and he goes after her and decides her case may be connected to the recent demonic incidents. Angela says that she doesn't believe in demons when suddenly the lights around them start going out one by one, except for a Mary statue in a display window. Loud, windy noises are coming from above, and John explains they're from flying creatures. He takes out a piece of fabric, and when he lights it up with a holy glow, he exposes the demons surrounding them, who immediately get burned to ashes. Angela throws up from the sulfur, and John points out that the demons are after her, not him. John agrees to take Angela's case and decides to visit hell to see if Isabel is there, which would indicate that she truly committed suicide. At Angela's apartment, he puts his feet into a basin of water that works as a conduit and asks Angela to leave. He takes her pet because cats have a connection to the supernatural. By staring into the cat's eyes, John creates a link, and time stops around him before he appears in hell. He has holy water in his hand for protection, and John walks through the dusty landscape of hell. He sees demons and damned souls, and he also finds Isabel at the edge of a building. Isabel says John's name and takes off her medical tag, so John chases after it. While Isabel falls, the demons chase after John and jump to attack him. Once he has the tag, John breaks a bottle of holy water on his chest and is brought back to Isabel's apartment, expelling smoke from his whole body. He gives the tag back to Angela and confirms that Isabel committed suicide and she's damned for it. Meanwhile, Hennessy sneaks into the morgue to find Isabel's corpse. He tries to read her memories by touching her arm, but at that moment, a creepy mark appears on her wrist, which makes Hennessy back away in fear. Terrified, he tries to drink from his flask, but not a single drop falls. A guard finds him, and Hennessy rushes to a store and desperately tries to drink from any alcohol bottle he can find, but the liquid never falls. After smashing a bunch of bottles, Hennessy collapses and begins to choke, so with his last breath, he uses a bottle opener to draw on his hand. Balthazar appears playing with his coin and enjoys watching Hennessy slowly die, as it's revealed he made an illusion to make the priest think there was no liquid, but he's actually choking on the alcohol. Back to John, he explains to Angela that as a kid, he was able to see all kinds of supernatural entities. Not knowing what to do, his parents sent him to a mental institution to be treated, which made it worse. Feeling scared and outcast, young John tried to end his life, and he was officially dead for 2 minutes. However, in hell, time moves slowly, so he feels like he was down there for a lifetime. The paramedics brought him back, and John finally accepted that everything he could see was real. Because of his terrible sin of suicide, his soul will go to hell, so he works exorcising demons hoping it will earn him salvation. Heaven and hell have a bet over who can win humanity's souls, and they create half-breeds like Gabriel and Balthazar, who whisper things to people to make them better or worse. Their conversation is interrupted when Angela gets a call about Hennessy's death, and the duo immediately go to the scene. John notices a bloody mark on Hennessy's palm, which is the same symbol Isabel and the Mexican guy had. Hennessy left it for John. After making a copy, John sends it to Beeman for research. Afterward, they go to Isabel's hospital room, and John snaps at Angela, trying to force her to think of anything that could serve as a clue. Angela finally remembers that as kids, they had a secret way to communicate with each other, and she breathes on the window, fogging it up to reveal the message, Corinthians 17, which shouldn't exist. As they drive away, they call Beeman, who explains that the Hell Bible has more passages than the traditional Bible. Corinthians 17 talks of the son of the devil called Mammon, who will bring eternal darkness upon humanity, and whose symbol is the one from Hennessy's hand. Mammon wants to steal control from Lucifer, and to do that, he needs a powerful psychic, plus a divine being. Beeman starts struggling to speak, and senses something is coming for him, so he hangs up right before insects start coming out of his eyes. Worried, John and Angela rush to check on Beeman, but it's too late. They find him dead and covered in insects. In the meantime, the man carrying the spearhead steals a car in Mexico and starts driving toward Los Angeles. Back to Angela, she admits to John that she and Isabel used to see things as kids too. However, when Isabel was treated for mental illness, Angela started to deny it, and eventually, she stopped seeing things. Now she feels guilty because she abandoned Isabel, so she asks John to help her see things again. John agrees and fills a bathtub with water, then he makes Angela lie in it. He holds her down even when she starts running out of breath. When she finally drowns, time slows down, only to come back to normal in a second. This is enough time for Angela to visit Hell and get her power back. Suddenly, she senses something and rushes to Beeman's office, where she finds Balthazar's coin. Later, Balthazar is looking at himself in the mirror in his office, and the mirror starts bubbling. Suddenly, the dragon's breath destroys the mirror and sends Balthazar flying, but the fire doesn't hurt him. John hits him with holy water and burns his face. Balthazar tackles John and pins him against the wall to choke him. This makes John drop the dragon's breath, but he pulls out brass knuckles engraved with crosses and uses them to punch Balthazar. He then stands over Balthazar with a Bible in hand and threatens to bless him instead of exorcising him so his soul would go to heaven. Terrified, Balthazar confesses that Mammon needs the Spear of Destiny to come to the human realm. Angela appears behind John, and Balthazar laughs, revealing his goal was Angela, and John brought her to them, so John shoots him down. When they leave, a mysterious figure appears over Balthazar. Balthazar asks to be revived because he completed his mission, but the being just watches him disintegrate. On their way out, Angela realizes that Isabel committed suicide because she didn't want the demons to use her to bring Mammon. Now that Isabel is dead, the demons want to use Angela instead. Suddenly, she starts feeling weird, and something pulls her through the elevator door and drags her through walls. John follows her, but Angela is then dragged away through the sky out of his reach. A desperate John rushes to the club to ask for Midnight's help. Midnight responds by using magic to pin him against the wall. John explains that nobody is following the rules anymore, and Midnight agrees to help him. In the artifact storage, they retrieve a chair used for capital punishment. John takes off his shoes, and after wetting the floor, Midnight electrocutes him with a bulb. This triggers a vision that shows John the man with the spear heading to the hospital, where tons of demons possessing humans are currently gathering. A demon tries to attack John, but Midnight quickly pulls him out. Afterward, Chas prepares special bullets for John. Meanwhile, Angela is dropped at the hospital pool, where the man with the spearhead is. She shoots him until she runs out of bullets, but they have no effect, and the guy drags her underwater. Moments later, John and Chas arrive at the hospital too. Chas goes to the water tank to bless it with a holy cross, while John finds the demons. He puts a lighter near the fire alarm to activate the sprinklers. The sprinklers release holy water in the room, and the demons are weakened. John then starts killing them one by one. He runs out of bullets, but luckily Chas joins him and kills the remaining demons. John and Chas look for Angela, who is now being drowned by the Mexican man. When she appears in Hell, she hears her name whispered by Mammon, who immediately jumps on her. John enters the pool room and finds the dead body of the Mexican guy. The water starts boiling, and a possessed Angela emerges, but John refuses to kill her. A fight ensues as John tries to exorcise her, but Angela drags him underwater to drown him. Chas quickly jumps in to help, and between both of them, they hold Angela down on the floor. John begins chanting the incantation, while Angela struggles. It seems as if Angela has gone back to normal, but that isn't the case as Mammon is in her stomach trying to get out. This time, Chas chants along with John, and it appears as if Mammon has disappeared. Suddenly, Chas is pushed back and smashed against the ceiling, instantly killing him. Furious, John places the tattoos on his arms together and says an incantation to reveal whatever is hiding in the room. The ceiling appears to open up, and Gabriel drops on top of John, revealing that Gabriel is the divine touch that would help bring Mammon over. Gabriel is resentful of God's favoritism for humanity and forgiveness for even the most wicked. Gabriel thinks it's unfair that awful people like mass murderers only need to repent to go to heaven. So Gabriel wants to bring Mammon to unleash hell on earth so that those who survive will become truly worthy of his love. Gabriel tosses Constantine away and prepares to pierce Angela with the spear tip to unleash Mammon. Desperate, Constantine commits suicide by slitting his wrists, knowing that Lucifer will personally come to collect him. Suddenly, time freezes, and Lucifer appears because John is the only soul he's allowed to take himself. John explains that Mammon is about to come to Earth and ruin Hell's plans, so Lucifer makes another door explode to check if it's true. Seeing Gabriel about to stab Angela, Lucifer takes Angela away right before time unfreezes, and the spear misses. The reflection on the water shows Lucifer holding Mammon over Angela, while he reminds Gabriel that the world is his. Gabriel attempts to smite Lucifer but is ineffective, revealing God has abandoned them, and Lucifer burns Gabriel's wings away before banishing Mammon back to hell. Lucifer reluctantly offers to restore Constantine to life for his assistance, but he instead asks that Isabel be sent to heaven. Lucifer releases Isabel, then drags John through the floor, happy to take his soul at last, but Constantine begins ascending to heaven for his selfless sacrifice. This means that Constantine does not belong to hell anymore. Infuriated, Lucifer restores Constantine to life and removes his cancer, and extends his life in hopes he'll sin again. Afterward, John retrieves the spearhead and checks on Angela, who is fine. Gabriel is also alive but is human now. Gabriel asks John to get his revenge by killing Gabriel, but John punches Gabriel and lets Gabriel live, knowing being human is punishment enough. John entrusts Angela with securing the spear tip to hide away from dangerous people. John also has some gum instead of a cigarette. The movie ends in a post-credits scene where Constantine visits Chaz's grave and witnesses Chaz in an angelic form, meaning that Chaz became an angel. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video to show your support. Goodbye.